Welcome agents, I've previously done videos talking about community rumours surrounding different aspects of the Division 2, most of it coming after the technical alpha was well underway. Now that the alpha is over, very little if anything has been rumoured about, but today I've got some pretty juicy stuff which may or may not be true. You can decide. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like below and subscribe for the most dedicated Division channel on YouTube, and with that said, let's do this. Before we begin, I must stress, as always, none of this has been confirmed by Ubisoft, and all of this stuff was found on forums like Reddit, for example. Now, I don't know if any of this is true, and that's why I'm calling these rumours and nothing more than that. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Dark Zone related, and one thing I think most of you agents will be happy with, especially anyone who has ever been checkpoint cams. There is a rumour that the checkpoints within the Dark Zone in the Division 2 are now guarded by turrets that shoot rogue agents that get too close. And I've heard they're actually very, very lethal. Now, this may sound familiar, and that's because this was suggested as a possible way to fix the checkpoint griefing within the Division. So it makes sense that this would be included within the Division 2, and it's entirely plausible. Turrets that lock onto enemies are already in the last stand game mode of the Division as fortifications, so if you reskin these, make them target rogues who stray too close to a checkpoint and bang. I mean, it seems pretty strong possibility if you ask me, and if true would really highlight how the devs have taken pretty old ideas of ours and decided to incorporate them into the Division 2.0, which is what I think we should probably be calling it at this point. What do you agents think about that? Now, I've tried to think of any possible drawbacks to this system, but really I can't think of any. It fixes one of the biggest problems with the Dark Zone in the Division, and one of the main reasons people simply stop playing that mode, along with all the other things, of course Rogue 2.0 being one of them. I can't really think of any other system that could replace this, and it's actually pretty cool. I really like the idea of it. It's a shame this was not implemented in the Division. The devs had the tools, and I really think a lot more people would have ventured into the Dark Zone if they knew they wouldn't get checkpoint grief, so I'm hoping this encourages more people to go in the Dark Zone within the Division 2. My only concern, and it's not really got anything to do with the turrets, because I think this is the best thing they could have done to fix the griefing problem. My only concern is that the devs punish rogue players far too much within the Division 2. This is a little off subject, and I'm all for the risk and reward aspect of the Dark Zone, but if there is some significant risk with the Dark Zone, there has to be some significant rewards. I'm just going to leave that there. Next up, and let's talk about friendly fire. Now, I've talked about Rogue 2.0 in previous videos, and why I didn't like the changes that were made, especially the change to friendly fire. My reason for this is pretty simple. The Dark Zone was sold as the most ruthless, unforgiving, unfair environment within the Division, where you were rewarded for the risk you take for entering. Rogue 2.0 to me felt like the devs were going back on this idea and trying to cater to a more casual audience when the Dark Zone was never meant to be casual. That's my overall opinion of Rogue 2.0, so for me, one of the biggest questions I wanted answered was whether friendly fire was going to be turned back on in the Division 2 or if it would be similar to Rogue 2.0. The rumour is that friendly fire will be back on in the Division 2, but I've heard it may only be in certain areas of the Dark Zone rather than the entire Dark Zone. That I'm not sure about, and actually, if there is multiple Dark Zones, it might be that in one DZ the friendly fire is on and in another it's turned off. What hasn't been rumoured or talked about is whether friendly fire being turned on applies to groups or not. That's something I want to know as well, as I'm sure you agents do. I know some of you won't care about the Dark Zone, and that's fine, but for me, at the start of the Division's life cycle, the Dark Zone was the only place within the Division that I could spend hours and hours just messing around, going rogue, and just generally having a good time by myself and with friends. Having friendly fire turned back on has to be, for me, the best change to the Dark Zone I could have asked for. I know it doesn't fix the issue of accidental rogue and that sort of thing, but I previously provided solutions to this problem. For example, landing shots on a player fills up a meter. The more shots landed, the more the meter fills up. And once the meter reaches its peak, the player goes stage 1 rogue. To me, this means that non-rogue players who shoot non-rogue players by accident have some leniency, and if you can continue to keep shooting non-rogue players, then you're punished for bad aim. Unless you, of course, you actually want to go rogue that way. That to me would be a good fix for the problem, and when we could have friendly fire back on and the Dark Zone working as intended. With that said though, I'm sure the devs have found a solution to the accidental rogue problem, and they have confirmed the Dark Zone would be very different in the Division 2. They've also stated it will be fair, but still retain the unforgiving nature you expect from the Dark Zone, basically how it used to be when the Dark Zone was first introduced in the Division. Moving on, and let's talk about going rogue in the Division 2. Nothing has really come out about this, and it's already been confirmed that there will be multiple ways to go rogue within the Division 2, like stealing, for example. I did a video on this, and it was confirmed by SkillUp in a stream with other YouTubers like Arix. What we don't know is exactly what these other things could be, but there are some rumours I want to talk about and get your feedback in the comments below. First up is to do with chests in the Dark Zone. In the Division, you can collect Dark Zone keys which open up chests, and that's the only way to open up these chests. In the Division 2, the rumour is that you can steal from these chests and go rogue. One way that has been discussed, and there may be multiple ways, one way is to actually lockpick these chests. Now I assume you can choose to either use a key or lockpick, and once you start the lockpick process, you go rogue. I've only seen this mentioned once on a Reddit post and nothing since, so I may be completely off with this one, but it would match up with what SkillUp said about stealing within the Division 2. Again, I'm not sure about this because this is just a rumour, but it would certainly make sense, and I quite like it actually. I want there to be more ways to go rogue within the Dark Zone instead of just shooting other people, and I think this ultimately appeals to every agent who wishes to go into the Dark Zone. What do you agents think about these rumours? Friendly fire being turned back on, turrets guarding the Dark Zone, checkpoints against griefing, and stealing from chests to go rogue. To me, all of these sound perfectly plausible and good additions or changes to the Dark Zone for the Division 2. Of course, at this point, we really don't know if any of this is true, but there can't be this many rumours about this stuff and it all be false. I find that highly unlikely. Stuff like the turrets we as a community suggested a long time ago to fix the Dark Zone issues with checkpoint camping, so it makes sense that this will be included within the Division 2. One more thing, and this is kind of Dark Zone related because it's actually about PvP. Yes, this elusive subject seems to have been completely missed by the devs, as we have absolutely no idea what PvP is going to be like in the Division 2, except that it's likely going to be more cover based. There are rumours that PvP in the Division 2 is really going to be cover based, and you will take increased damage out of cover should you attempt to face tank or flank or whatever you attempt to do outside of cover. Now this is something I think we all expected in the Division 2 and something I wanted to a degree. I like the idea of a cover based shooter, but what I don't think the devs should be doing is going so far that way because it just means that PvP will be stale. Everyone will stay in cover and it will just be boring. Now there are rumours that the devs have left the Dark Zone and PvP until last, meaning there are a lot of bugs, server issues and general instability with these aspects of the games. Leaving PvP until last shouldn't come as much as a surprise, to be fair. The game is mainly PvE, and the devs would have to prioritise that first, especially when you consider that most people who play the Division right now are playing it for the PvE aspect, not the PvP. I believe the stats for this are roughly 70% PvE and 30% PvP in the Division as of right now. Now what's concerning is the level of problems still plaguing the Dark Zone within the Division 2 testing, because there is a less than 10 weeks before the full game is released, and possibly only a couple of weeks before the private beta is released. Now I've talked about the private beta before. There's a couple of things on the Walmart Canada page that say it should be February 1st. Other people have said that will be the open beta, possibly not the private beta. And a lot of people seem to think it's going to be anywhere between January 14th and January 17th. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Now, will the Division 2 be pushed back? It's very likely it will be from what I've heard, but fingers crossed the devs pull themselves together and we see a fully working AAA title on March 15th or 12th if you have Early Access Edition. That's what we all want, and that's what the gaming community needs to save us from a terrible year of gaming. I'm looking at you, Fallout 76, among others, of course. Before we end it there, agents, it's worth noting that we are almost certainly going to get some PvP-related information soon. YouTubers like Butter have recently tweeted saying how we are only 1 week closer to them releasing this information, and I imagine it will be in the next couple of weeks, the next possible 2 weeks we will get this. Not long to go, agents, when we find out exactly what's coming within the Division 2, and I cannot wait. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Soon enough, I won't be able to make any more of these rumour videos as the information will be out, which is a little bit sad as I actually really like speculating and getting the feedback from new agents. Of course, when the info is dropped by anyone, I will be on it as soon as possible. So if you want to get my perspective, don't forget to hit the bell button below and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss anything. Well, all that said, I hope you have a fantastic new year, and I will see you all in 2019. Epic out.